Yes.
Hey, what do you mean by a self-paced course?
Well, the course material is available in the form of video lectures. And there are multiple practice problems that come along as well. So, you can access all of it anywhere, anytime. And they are available to you for lifetime.
No way.
Oh, yes, way. Don't delay and enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to Geeks for Geeks, and I'm here with another webinar on interview preparation series. So yeah, before I add my guest for today, I want you all to confirm that I am perfectly audible and visible to you. Then I will quickly add Shivangi to the stream. Just let me know in the comment section if I'm perfectly audible, guys. Also, before I start with the webinar, I want you guys to know that if you guys have any questions for Shivangi, you can definitely put it out in our comment section and we will take it at the end of the webinar. Okay. So yes, I've got a lot of yeses. So I'll quickly add Shivangi to the stream. Hi, Shivangi.
Hey Muskan, thanks for having me here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Shivangi, I can see a lot of people in this live already. So, a lot of people are really excited about it. So, can you quickly give us a brief introduction about yourself and the company that you're currently working at?
Sure. So, hello guys, I'm Shivangi Gupta. I'm currently software engineer at National Instruments, and I've done my BTech from DIT University, Dehradun, from 2021. I guess that's all. Really happy to be a part here.
Sure. So, as you said that you are working at National Instruments, so was it an on-campus opportunity or an off-campus opportunity?
It was an on-campus opportunity.
It was an on-campus opportunity. Okay. So the next thing would be that how many rounds were there like during your selection procedure?
So first, there were two coding rounds that were in form of test, like normal DSA questions and some MCQ questions.
Hmm.
The third round or the interview rounds were three. One was again a technical interview. The second was a managerial interview, but it was again kind of an resume-based technical interview itself. And the third one was HR round.
Okay, so two technical rounds, online assessments, and three rounds were there.
Yes.
The interview rounds were there. Okay, that is
Yeah.
great. So that is quite an elaborate procedure, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So can you briefly describe all the rounds and like was there any specific thing that was asked in each round? And can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'll say that the first three rounds, the first two that were coding based, and the first interview were all related to, DSA type questions. The first round that was the pure coding knockout round was
Hmm.
mostly, I think, three or four coding questions and some MCQ questions on basic computer fundamental questions like OS or these type of subjects,
Right.
fundamental CS4 subjects. After that, few students were shortlisted for the second coding round. In that, it was just one question, which was more of like a puzzle type competitive programming questions that you
Mhm.
usually see on code forces and all. So after you clear these two coding rounds, then there was a technical interview. In that first technical interview, I think it went on for 2.5 hours, and they asked three coding questions. All of them were, I'll say, mostly to check the basics of the candidate. Like before appearing in the interview, people think that it will be too high-fi questions, graph, trees, or very complex questions. But
Right.
in my experience, they were not really complex ones, but they really tested the basics. In fact, I'll say some of them were from so basic concepts like sorting and searching, but
Right.
they really wanted to understand how am I thinking. They told me to discuss the solution loud and tell the interviewer what I'm thinking and why am I optimizing it, and like they asked questions in between, even in the process. Like, okay, you're telling
Right.
that you can optimize it, but why are you optimizing here? They
Mm.
really helped me to get to the real optimized solution. And
Mm.
they discussed three questions in that coding round. And after that, in the managerial round, it was mostly, I'll say, resume based. So like, whichever internships I mentioned or projects I mentioned in my resume, they asked technical questions on that, and
Mhm.
also stuffs like which was the project I enjoyed the most, or which was the most challenging one. So in that process, like just we are having a conversation right now, but even
Right.
then they could understand that, okay, is it a project that I really made? Because they are actually asking questions like that. What was the
Mm.
part where you got stuck? These type
Right.
of questions that you can easily find on internet if you see the search for resume based interview experiences and all. So it
Yeah.
was mostly like that. And the HR round, I will say it was a typical HR interview, just questions about the company, about the
Mm.
products of the company, why you want to join, and stuff like that. But I'll say the major interview was done till the 4 rounds.
4 rounds, right? So basically, the initial rounds were data structures based, and then they slowly moved to the development side, right?
Yes, right.
Okay. And as we are, mentioning data structures, so what was the difficulty level? Because you mentioned that in the first round it was easier as compared to the second round. So, yeah.
So the first, like the coding rounds were, I'll say, medium. Like uh,
Hmm.
the written coding rounds were medium. Interview was also between medium to medium hard. There was not too much difficult questions, but they
Hmm.
really wanted to test the basics, and they helped
Right.
us get to the optimized solution. It was like discussed with us, and they really helped the interviewee to get to the optimal solution. Discuss about basic things, basic data structures,
Right.
stuff like that.
And I have seen in some of the interviews they actually ask about the data structures. For example, like suppose you're implementing hash maps, it is really easy to implement it, but to
Hmm.
know the internal working, like some of the interviews I've seen, like they ask about the internal working, and
Yeah.
people don't know it because they have
Yeah, right.
learned how do
So
you use.
exactly, that is what I meant
Yeah.
by understanding the basics. So this
Right.
was not in NI's interview, but
Hmm.
I gave interviews for another company, and they asked the exact same question that you mentioned. That
Right.
what do you mean by hash maps? Do you know how it works? So
Hmm.
when you're actually googling stuff or watching YouTube videos on how to implement hash maps, or you know solving questions for dynamic programming using hash maps in daily life, you should actually know what hash maps are. I mean, why are you trying to implement it? Not just for the
Hmm.
sake of optimizing it. I mean, you should
Right.
also understand what it is at the end. So
Hmm.
only you'll actually enjoy the subject also, and it will be really easy for you to answer such questions, and it will also set you apart from
The
others. It
rest.
will have a great impact actually.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Then the next thing in the later interviews round, you mentioned projects and like there were questions based on projects asked to you. So can you elaborate like what projects did you work on during your college?
Yeah, right. So to be honest, talking about projects, I mostly did internships. So by seventh semester, I had completed 4 internships, and in those 4 internships, I had worked on projects. So I did not get time for individual projects apart from
Hmm.
these internships. So in my resume also, I put projects from these internships,
Hmm.
and most of my projects in these internships were related to data science and machine learning. So in after my second year, I did an internship at IIT Kanpur, where I developed a smart card and worked on some other NLP models and machine learning and stuff. So that was the first project on my resume. The
Hmm.
second one was I did an year-long internship with Smart Jules Private Limited. There also I worked with data science, data analytics, Python, stuff like that. So I talked about those in my interview and also mentioned them.
Hmm.
Apart from that, I also did an internship at ICAR, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. That was again an ML project. So yeah, that was all about the internships. And
Right.
talking about the resume, I actually, the thing is, uh, for every job profile that you apply on, you need
Hmm.
to, make your resume in a way that it fits to that profile. I'm not telling you to add
Very
skills
correct.
according to that, but you can have a horizontal set of skills. You want to see the skill set that the company is looking for. If the company is for MLAI, of course I'll highlight that I've done so many projects on MLAI, so I'm a great fit for them. But if I'm seeing that this job role is for SD, I can actually tilt it in a way that, okay, I have done MLAI internships because I wanted to explore that field. But apart from that, I also know data structures, algorithms, and I also know the basics of how to work in a company. And given any skill set, I can think and get to a optimal solution and work on any project that you give me. And that is all they expect from a fresher, that you can understand what they are working on, and you can work for them. I mean, you can learn and work for them. That's all.
Right.
Like, it's not necessary that if it's an SD, you need to have SD internships. No, you
Hmm.
wanted to explore in your college and you did. So it's completely fine. To things that I put on my resume is like, first thing that I followed was I saw some tips on Geeks for Geeks actually, and even some YouTube tutorials on how to create professional looking resumes. From that, I added the roles and responsibilities that I did in my college, be it from co-curricular clubs, events, national events that you worked on, or even coding concerts that you went on, like competitions that you participated. Put
Hmm.
that all in, because as a fresher, it all matters. It shows that
Right.
you were actually working. Like, don't think that this project is too small to put. No, just put it, right? And make sure you have some good, like, medium to large size project or internships that you can talk in an interview, because mostly
Right.
I've seen it managerial rounds, they mostly do resume based, and you
Hmm.
need to add special skill sets and have at least some internship projects that you can actually spend 1 hour talking about them. You should have content to talk about. That
Right.
is all it is in the end.
Right. Even I 100% agree with that thing that internships, like you can work on your projects in your internships only, right?
Right,
So two things are happening at the same time, and also when you're doing an internship, you are working with 10 other people. You're getting
right,
some practical experience, which I don't think you can get anywhere else. So
right,
that helps a lot, right? Correct. And also the resume thing that you mentioned, the tailor your resume specific to the company. I think that is a very,
mm,
very good point. People say that I have so many things in my resume, still I'm not getting selected for a company because
right.
the company is asking something and you are putting something, as
Ah.
you mentioned. So
Right.
obviously
In
you will
fact,
not get
most
selected.
of the companies these days don't even, the HRs mostly don't even spend time
Hmm.
looking manually at the resumes. They just have a
Right,
system, a computer program to do it for them.
right,
I mean,
right. That is
for
correct.
that computer program, you need to have special keywords. If they're looking for a front end engineer and you don't
Hmm.
have any of the web development skills, and you have so many other skills, I don't think that will be helpful.
Right.
So you need to tailor your resume, right? And also have those skills, not just add it, but to learn it.
But to learn it and do projects, yes, that is very important. Also, as you have mentioned that there are specific machines wherein they can see their resume. I think you should like make your resume ATS friendly because some people's resumes, those machines cannot even detect that those things are
Right.
there because it is not in proper format. That is also a very big reason the resumes don't get shortlisted even after having the correct skill set.
Some people even add the skills as like pictures in JPG formats.
Oh
I
my
don't know
god.
why,
Don't
but
do
yeah, I've
this.
seen it. So please don't do this.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, there are so many things like on like there is overleave, there is no resume. I think it is like you can make a professional resume there.
Right.
Yeah, so Shivangi, what was your preparation strategy? Was there any particular roadmap that you followed during your preparation?
Uh, to be honest, I only saw roadmap videos after my placements.
I like a
Uh,
reverse strategy.
yeah. Well, jokes aside, my preparation strategy was the first 3 years are to explore. Like
Hmm.
from your first year till your third year, you should not really focus on, I have to go in Google, I have to go in Facebook, I need to crack a job. No, don't think about all of this.
Hmm.
Just explore different fields and, work on yourself, not just coding skills, but even other skills. So, for
Right.
an example, I joined IEEE in my first year of college, and I really worked hard in the club, took events, took webinars, took seminars for my juniors, attended, organized it, called speakers from all over India, even attended national events and international events, and went to section level events, and volunteered as a member in that club. And I'll
Hmm.
say it had two benefits, two major benefits. First, I have a great set of network. I mean, I have seniors all over the country. I can just give them a call, say, hey, can you please help me with a referral? Or, hey, I'm looking for a job change. Where are you now? So I have good people, good network.
Right.
Second, it actually helped me enhance my personality, because interview is just not about having the correct skill set. It's also about, are you able to communicate it to the interviewer? If you are able to say your point, if you're able to you know help the interviewer see that okay, you can be an asset to the team, then only he will say it. If you're not able to communicate well, how much ever good you are, he won't be able to see it, right? Because it's just 1 or 2 hours. You need to have a good personality, you need to make a good first impression in the interview itself. So being part of such events help you in that. Other
Hmm.
than that, I also made sure that I have at least 2 to 3 internships before I appear for interviews. So like, as I said, even in my seventh semester I had 4 internships. So that really set me apart from others, because mostly people have just one internship, or maybe
Hmm.
not even that. They just take a training certificate because it's a compulsory thing for colleges, right? So that is the thing. Like, you need to make sure that you have done something so that you can
Hmm.
talk about it. And
Right.
all the rest, like, as I said, you're working on internships, you're working on projects. If not internships, like, it's not important that you are getting internships and you are able to find the correct opportunities at the right time. So just take any project and start working on it. I mean, a
Hmm.
good project from the scratch. Once you've done it, I'm pretty sure that you will have good understanding about the project. So you have the basic knowledge about it in a specific domain. After that, the fourth year, or the after the third year, before the fourth year, the 1 2 months, I'll say
Right.
that much time is really enough for DSA preparation. I mean, if you have the basics right, you know
Hmm.
how a language works, you don't have to start from for loop, then you
Hmm.
can definitely build your concept. Just
Hmm.
practice 3 4 questions daily. Or if you want to start early, I'll say start from your fifth semester or sixth semester. That's enough. You do not need to start preparing DSA in the first year itself.
Right.
Use that time to explore different stuffs. Like, you, when somebody says big data, you should have some knowledge. I'm not saying that have the proper depth in that domain, but you should at least know what big data is. Use
Hmm.
your time to explore different fields, and then
Right.
later you can decide that okay, this is the thing that I like the most, and now I'll be continuing in this domain. And for DSA preparations, if you have the basics correct, I personally spent just, I'll say, 2.5 months preparing DSA. And that helped me clear most of the first, second rounds of all the interviews that I appeared in.
Right.
So I think that much is enough. I'll say practice from Lead Code or Geeks for Geeks. In fact, there are some questions, set of questions simply made good questions for interview
Interview
preparation. You
preparation.
just
Yes.
Right. You just need to Google it. It will just show you. And
Right.
even some companies just directly ask from that. I've seen it
Right.
in my own experience. So yeah, just practice from most commonly asked questions, or take any set for that matter,
Right.
and start preparing for that in 2 or 2.5 months or 3 months at max. You
Hmm.
should be able to have basic grasp on all these concepts, and then you can keep practicing if you want.
Yeah, and questions are repetitive, I believe. Like it repeats a
Yeah,
lot
right.
in a company. Like as you mentioned, hash maps only. Like it was like
Like,
some like I think I got this question in one interview, and you also got it, and we're like we've never even spoken to each other before. So guys, yeah, this is such a repetitive question, and I've seen so many people get the same question in different companies.
right.
So yes. So people who ask that either they should do DSA or development, I hope your question is answered by Shivangi. Like do development majorly, and when you have to sit for placements, then maybe before few months start focusing on DSA.
Right.
Right. Now we can take few of the questions from the comment section. Yes. Guys, you can ask your questions quickly in the comments and I will definitely try to ask them. So Anshul has asked how to get internship after second year because you have done so many internships. Can you please let students know that how did you receive those internships?
So, the first thing is like after the second year, mostly, yeah, I accept the fact that it's difficult to
Right.
get internships after second year because you have really minimal experience. So I can
Hmm.
say that you can maybe go for training plus internship offers also. Like as I mentioned, there are some institutes that actually provide training and then they offer internships like for month or half month or whatever.
Hmm.
Other than that, there is Intershala, and there are also, I mean, if you have a good network of seniors or something, then
Hmm.
you can actually reach out to them to ask that if your startup or your company has some openings for, internship positions. So, like, you can either approach them on LinkedIn, like, you can search for startups that are looking for internships that uh, you have the skill set and you want to say that okay, I'm just after my second year and I know this much, I've done this project, can you like offer me an internship? There are
Hmm.
so many companies that keep posting, they're also looking for interns because we can all accept that internships are cheaper for the companies also. So
Right.
they'll get you'll also get experience and they'll also have benefits. So I think there are some good websites out there, and I mean, networking always helps. If you have seniors, people who can help you in that, or if
Hmm.
your colleges bring companies for internships, like the company that I mentioned, Smart Jules, for my third year, that came in my college itself. So
Right.
right, if your college brings companies for internships, you can definitely try to crack them.
Right. And as you mentioned that LinkedIn is a great platform. Like people keep posting about like mostly startups about the openings that are there and they are allowing freshers. So that is I think a great platform. And I don't see many first year students on LinkedIn. Like now they
Right.
have started making their profiles, but like not all of them. Till
People
fourth year
mostly start
everyone
in
has.
fourth year. Right.
Yeah, fourth year nahi to like third year say, but first year mein not a lot of
Hmm.
students have it. Yeah,
Right.
so maybe, stay active on LinkedIn, try to connect with as many seniors as possible.
In fact, connect from seniors from your own college or your own school. Like
Hmm.
if somebody, you say to somebody that, hey, I'm from your college and I'm looking for that, they'll be actually happy to help you if you're able to prove them that you're willing to learn and you have some skill set that they can help. If their company has opening, they'll help you for sure.
Right, definitely. So Rahul has asked that what to do if we have good technical skills, but whenever it comes to communication skills, we lack somewhere about expressing. So how should he cope with that?
See, so at the end, we are looking for technical profiles, right? So
Right.
all we need is that much communication skills that we are able to convey our thought to the interviewer. That's all. You need
Hmm.
not be, a public speaker who goes on giving debates on stages. No, that is not needed. Just have enough confidence that you're able to talk to the interviewer. For that, maybe you can take up mock interviews on various platforms. I think
Hmm.
Geeks for Geeks and LeetCode both offers that. If not, sit with your friends or seniors for that matter and ask them that, like, can you take a mock interview for me? Like, just ask me some questions and I'll try to work on
Hmm.
that. Or if your college or any other team has some volunteering experiences or opportunities, try to be a part of that and try to just communicate with others. That will be enough. All you need
Right.
is enough to communicate what you know to the interviewer. That's all.
Right. And as you mentioned earlier, also, like soft skills are very important. So I think this is not something you can, learn in 1 or 2 months. You need to develop those skills since the very beginning. As you mentioned that you participated in so many events, webinars,
Hmm.
and hosted so many of them. So I think you slowly, gradually developed it over time, right? So
You're right.
yeah, just don't be a nerd. Like participate in different things when you are going to college and everything. Right. So I'll see. Uh, I'm in sixth semester now. What subjects are required for placements and how to prepare for placements and all? What subjects? I think he's talking about the CS fundamental subjects
Hmm.
that are important.
So, mostly companies focus
Hmm.
on DBMS, OS, computer networks, core subjects, data structures. Uh, but again, that are, just basic questions on that. Like, mm, in some interviews, I have been asked questions like, "What do you mean by semaphore?" or "What do you mean by a deadlock?" OS
Hmm.
type questions, or even from computer networks. But that varies from company to company. I mean, some
Hmm.
companies don't even ask them. So it will be good if you have at least some basic knowledge of the subjects that you read in your BTech. I mean, of course, you cannot be thorough with it, but at least the basics of all the subjects that you actually read in your BTech. So that is
Right.
one thing. Have a brush up again. Just ask common interview questions on OS, or interview questions for OS, DBMS,
Hmm.
computer networks. Geeks for Geeks has a great set of questions. I
Correct.
myself prepared for that. So that is enough. Uh, you're in sixth sem, so I guess you can start working on DSA now. So like try, if you're already comfortable with the basic concepts like loops and recursion and all that,
Hmm.
you can actually start working with stacks, queues, DP, and all that, and just practice for 3 4 questions per day. Don't exhaust yourself and solve 20 questions in a day and sleep for 1 week. Be
Right.
consistent, solve 1 2 questions daily, it's enough. And
Hmm.
I think that's all. You can actually take mock interview, or set a timer to solve some questions, like
Hmm.
in coding exams at least you'll have 30 minutes maybe to solve one question or even less. So you need to make sure that you're not just able to solve them, but timely solve them. So that's
Right.
really important.
Right.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. So yeah, mock interviews are actually very important. Like I also prefer taking mock interviews before sitting for an actual interview because it teaches you how to sit for 45 minutes and answer the question that have been asked to you. So yeah,
Right.
definitely take mock interviews. Then he is asked, the Shori Negi has asked that he is in his last year and he's looking for an internship. Any idea how to apply or how we can get internship? I think you answered this question. You can apply from Internshala or LinkedIn,
Uh,
maybe.
Actually, this is true. Most of the companies do prefer selecting students during placement drive, because
Hmm.
at least in the last year, talking about the eighth semester internship, most of the companies prefer, on-campus interviews, and they even say that no, we won't be hiring through referrals for internship
Hmm.
positions. That is true. We can't complain about them. They have, spent a lot of resources trying to, get the correct person. All you can do
Right.
is try to find companies which are not taking through on campus drives. Try
Hmm.
finding off campus internship opportunities. There are really a lot of them on LinkedIn. Be
Right.
active, connect to different people, different companies, different HRs. There are people who actively post job opportunities, internship opportunities.
Hmm.
Try to get the mail of the HR, mail them personally. So yeah, that helps actually. I have, in fact, personally, I have got internship offers offline through LinkedIn, but since after that there was on campus better opportunities, so I decided not to
Right.
go with that. But yeah, I have seen it. It works if you are actually, spending time to find go to the correct place and searching.
Right. I absolutely agree with that. So Karan is asked that what about projects? Can I do web dev versus app dev versus ML? Like he's in third sem and he's asking he should work on web dev, app dev, or ML.
I'll say have a taste of all of them. You know, as I mentioned, explore. I can't say that which one you will like more. Personally, web dev or app dev or ML, I can't say for you, right? I don't know which one you will like better.
Right,
It's a personal preference. I'll say
right.
make small projects, like really simple ones on each
Hmm.
of them. Maybe just spend 1 2 days researching on them. Then try to see which one are you enjoying. Like
Hmm.
try developing a small web application. Like these days, I don't think that people actually go with css and html. Try
Right.
implementing a small framework based web application. Try to see if you're able to develop a app version for that, or even
Hmm.
for ml. Like I usually suggest to students that don't use libraries for ML projects, but I'll say it's an important step to start actually. If you don't
Right.
start with a library, if you don't get a taste of it, then how will you decide whether or not you want to continue in that direction? So I think that's all. You're just in your third semester, very good time to start now. So
Right.
just, start today and spend 1 2 months exploring different fields, whichever you like the most. Do a good project on that.
And don't start doing whatever everyone else is doing or whatever your friends are
Yeah, right.
suggesting you to do.
In
Yeah.
fact, I've seen students saying that, front end engineers don't earn that much, or that's not
Even
that a
as
good
well.
profile.
Hmm.
That's just a myth. I mean,
That's right.
if you're good at any skill set, people will pay you accordingly. And if
Hmm.
you're enjoying anything, that all should matter at the end. I mean, it doesn't matter what everyone else is doing, let them do. Whatever you are enjoying, do in that.
Hmm.
Just don't always go with the flow that everyone is doing ML. It's only ML these days. No,
Right.
software development will never be, out of fashion. It will always go on. So if you want to have a taste, try that, but don't stick to it.
I hope your question is answered, Karan. Then the next thing Rahul is asked that can you tell us what is basically your role and responsibility in your company?
So I am currently in the LabVIEW squad. So
Hmm.
like LabVIEW is a software, and in that development team, we work on features, bugs, customer escalations, or even research features. So like most of the time that we spend on is mostly trying to work on a feature or bug, or developing that product. So yeah.
Okay. So now this question is very interesting, and a lot of people ask this question over and over again in every webinar. I see this question that should they do development or should they do CP?
So
What
I
is your
think
say?
I already discussed this even before. So like you're just in your second year, right? You have a lot of time for CP. If you really enjoyed competitive programming, do 1 2 questions daily. It won't take that much time. Maybe spend half an hour, 45 minutes doing CP, or practicing DSA. But
Hmm.
since you're just in your second year, I'll say focus more on development. Try to have some good projects, because by the time you will be in your fourth or third year, you won't have that much time. In fact, you'll still have time in your third year, but in your fourth year, there will be so many companies coming, and your friends will be getting placed, and you will want to get a good placement first. You won't have that much time to spend on your internship, on your project. So now is the time that you actually spend time exploring, or making good projects and utilizing your time for competitive programming and all. If you really enjoy it, then do half an hour or 45 minutes a day. But don't just continue doing data structures at all from the second year. Try to have some good development projects first.
Right.
In fact, when you do development, you will actually learn more than what you do in DSA. Because in DSA, suppose I'm actually working on a stack. Okay, I'm solving a stack problem. But when I'm actually working on features,
Hmm.
on bugs, I have actually seen deadlocks happen, and that is when it strikes you. Okay, that was not just a textbook problem. That really happened with me. That is
Right.
like you actually learn in the process much more than you would do in CP. So yeah, in second year, just focus on development more.
Development, right? And focus on building your concepts more than,
Right.
learning something. Yes. So one last question I had. So is there referral system in your company? And if there is, then what is the procedure? How can a person approach and where can he or she approach? And yeah.
Yeah, so I guess yes, and I do takes referral, but I think it's again, I don't think referrals happen for internship positions. Like
Mm-hmm.
it mostly starts from SD1, and even for SD1, like it's Jan 2022, right? So students passing out in 2022 won't be, eligible for referrals for SD1.
Right.
Now the eligibility is for 21 pass outs. So before reaching out to anyone, not just me or anyone for that matter, be sure that you have read the eligibility properly, that which batch you are in currently and what is the minimum qualification written with that role.
Hmm.
And for referrals, I'll say that, you know, follow a simple professional manner to approach anyone on LinkedIn. Like, just don't send short messages like, hey, how are you doing? I mean, we all know it's LinkedIn. People are there for professional communications. You can
Hmm.
just say, give a brief introduction about yourself, why the person should, consider giving you a referral. Try to add a open job link, and
Hmm.
attaching your resume in PDF format, well uh, corrected resumes, not with silly grammar mistakes or silly spelling
And a
mistakes,
proper
that the
name.
person with a proper name and email ID, that when I open the referral, I see the spelling mistake in the name itself, or
Hmm.
one of the skills. So that is like a first turn off, like, okay, the resume should be really professional, and you
Right.
should always try to add a job link in the message first when you send it, so that
Hmm.
it should be sure that, okay, that job role is currently hiring. And try to send referral requests to people. If you have already been referred and you're not hearing back from the company, it's not much useful if you keep on asking for referrals, because you have
Hmm.
already been referred. So just wait for some time. If the company wants, they will, if you're shortlisted, you will get a link or something like that. So yeah,
Right.
that's all.
Yeah. Hope that answers the, like, a lot of students have this doubt. I hope that is answered. Difference in mindset. Okay. So, guys, if you have any more questions, we will just wait for 1 minute before ending the webinar. You can put it in the comment section. Otherwise, we can end the webinar. How much, Matt? Oh,
Guys, I
someone is
see a lot of questions about the CTC. I'll just say use LinkedIn salary. You will get salaries about all the companies, all the profiles. Most of
asking.
them are accurate. Search on Glassdoors. I don't think any of the employer, they
Allowed.
should not be talking about salaries in such webinars. Just go to LinkedIn salaries, search for it. You will know the salaries. Or even go to Glassdoors. There are so many websites. They are for the same thing. Just
Hmm.
go and do a Google search.
Yeah, Sudhanshu, you can go and, as Shivangi suggested, you can go and just check out there. Then people are asking how to improve communication skills. I think you've already answered that question. You can just, go a little back and see, like, this question has been already answered.
How
Yeah.
much matter English communication skills for interview?
Hmm.
Uh, so as I said, for technical interviews, all it matters is you should be able to communicate yourself. It does not necessarily mean that you should be fluent, you should not stop. I mean, no, most of the people won't matter, these things won't
Hmm.
matter that much in a technical interview. Yeah, if you're going for sales positions, yes, it will.
It
But if you're
will. Right.
talking about technical coding experiences, I don't think that there are more people or interviewers who will focus on your grammar, or I mean, pronunciation skills for that. I mean, just have enough that you're able to communicate well. That's all.
Hmm.
Just practice something that you're able to communicate with the interview. That's all.
That's all. Okay. I think we have answered most of the questions. Any other question that you would like to take up, Shivangi? I think most of them we've already answered.
Yeah, I think most of them are answered.
We have
Do I
answered.
need to? purchase any DSA course, that's up to you. I mean,
Hmm.
I can't suggest on that. There
Yes.
are plenty of free resources. There are some really good courses.
Hmm.
Compare on how much time and what are the pros and cons. I mean, nobody can make that choice for you. Sorry.
Right. If you want everything in a proper synchronized manner, like
Hmm.
lecture one, two, three, four, five, then maybe you can purchase. Otherwise, there are many free resources as well. You can just, have a look at those.
Right.
Okay. Is lead code enough for DSA? I think this is his question. I think she mentioned that yes, like
Yes, I
two
mean,
months,
it's more than enough.
more than
I
enough,
have
right?
not even, I have not even solved one fourth of lead code questions.
Yes. Actually, I've
You see, the
seen
number of
people
questions don't matter. It's,
exactly.
are you, if given a new question, are you able to solve it? That's
Hmm.
all. If you have not solved a single lead code problem, if you have not solved a simple GFG problem, it's okay if you're able to solve them on spot, right?
Right. Number of questions doesn't really matter. Like I've seen people who have solved thousands of questions and still they're not able to get through the interview. And people
Right.
solving 200 to 300 maybe questions and they are able to crack an
Right.
interview. So yeah,
In
number of
that,
questions.
I'll say maybe try to cover the horizontal skill set, like uh,
Hmm.
focus on different concepts. Like don't solve 200 questions on DP. Solve rather 10 questions on the stack, 10 questions on trees. Have some basic knowledge of all the concepts. That should be enough. I mean, have a mixture of lead code and GFG. I will say that's enough. Or if you want some video lectures, there are, I think, some really good playlists on YouTube. You can refer them.
Yes, definitely. What project? One last question I'll take. He asked by Dilip that what matters most, how many projects or how many skills? I think these are two separate things, right? Like, if only if you
Yeah,
will
I
have
mean,
skills, you can make projects.
exactly. I mean, you can't actually count the skills, like
Hmm.
there's no point that I have 20 skills on my resume and he had just two and he got selected. No. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, mention the correct skills on your resume, which are corresponding to your projects. If you're adding a project corresponding to any tech stack, you obviously have those skills. But
Hmm.
it can be the other way around, that you have those skills but you don't have the project on that. That's perfectly fine. Add it on your resume, but be sure that you've not just read about it on a wiki page. Have some knowledge about it, so you
Right.
can say that if somebody cross questions me for on that topic for 5 minutes, I can have a good conversation. Then I think that's enough.
Yes, correct. Okay. Interview recruiter asked to us, why should we hire you? What should be the question? I think this is a managerial question that, which is asked by most of the thing. I think
Yeah.
he means
uh,
hire. Why should we hire you?
that's fine. I think again, these are HR type questions. Before going to the interview, search for these answers. You'll get really good answers on YouTube. Uh,
Correct.
Personally, if a recruiter asks me this, I'll simply say that I have worked on different skills and I have the capability that I can learn any given tech stack and work on it. And maybe I can talk about some of my experiences to prove that I worked on this, so I have the skill set, and you are also looking for this, so I think I can be a great fit. All the interviewer needs to know is that, are you a good fit for them or not? I mean, there are some really good templates
Hmm.
on YouTube. I searched them before going for HR interviews, so you can also see them. There are some really good ones there.
And I think this answer also varies from company to company and the
Right,
role you are
exactly,
actually interviewing for, right?
exactly.
Okay, I think we have taken all the questions. Thank you so much, Shivangi, for
Thanks,
coming
Muskan.
on this webinar here and sharing your interview experience. I hope it helps a lot of students who are seeing this or are planning to give interviews. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye. Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you in the next webinar. Bye bye.